G'day everybody. Here we are, another Goat Shed live presentation with what's happening in March. Well, at the moment we've got a few things happening in March. So today here down under in Australia, it's Saturday morning. It's just after 9 AM. It's approximately 25 degrees Celsius, which is 77 degrees Fahrenheit. But the humidity, it's 85-90%, which is really high, makes it very uncomfortable. Terribly uncomfortable, actually. So we're sitting on the back veranda here, and we'll be here again in about 3 more weeks' time. We're going to hold another one of our training courses. That's on Saturday the 23rd. I think we've got 3 or 4 people signed up for that, so we still have room for more. A couple more anyway.
Yeah.
Next Friday evening, which will be the 8th of March, in the USA, there's another Fun with Pinball coaching clinic on. That's available now. You'll find that Mark has put a post on the Goat Shed Facebook page, as well as a lot of others. So anyone wanting to sign up for that, to have their machine repaired live, there's some criteria you have to meet. I won't go into all that here, but you can have a look at the link he's put on the page. So that starts for us at about 10 o'clock in the morning, which is 2300 UTC, Universal Time. So we always look forward to that. Now, up until a few days ago, we didn't have really any customers' machines here.
Do a lot of our own stuff.
Yeah. We've been doing a bit of work on our own gear. So we've been doing a little bit more work on the Bally Beach Club Bingo. Now, we're happy to say that we're 95% there.
Yeah. Pretty well just tidying up now, aren't we? I think any major issues we've tackled, so I think it's all going well.
Oh God, weren't there some major issues?
That machine had not gone for 30 odd years, I reckon.
Probably longer.
And it had issues when it was put in the corner. Big issues, but we got a lot of things. Just sort of, you can see what people had to go at it before, and we fixed things up, and you fix one thing or 4 other things break down, but then again you just got to keep at it.
I think one of the biggest problems we had, it was firing a coil in the trip bank on the back door. That's the main bank, and of course that coil was not supposed to be fired.
Yeah,
and it was
on the Red Star relay trip.
And they were which is one that cooked the coil?
That was the selections, all selections. That's the one that trips the spot numbers when you get them. That was tripping straight away, and that was just cooking.
Now you won't believe the reason why. Graham was fiddling around with it, and for some reason he decided he'd move the reflex unit manually. Well, guess what? That fixed it. On closer inspection of the reflex unit mechanism, there are 2 set screws that hold the wiper fingers on the shaft. Now what had occurred was that there's 2 separate feeds coming into the reflex unit, and the wiper finger, when it got to a certain point, was actually touching both feeds.
Direct short.
Wow, that was crazy. The other really weird problem was that the replay counter wasn't just doing its steps correctly. And you could watch it, and sometimes it'd fire and sometimes it wouldn't. Now,
but the cork was okay on the test, and that's the thing that annoyed us.
So we thought, there's got to be a bad switch somewhere, it's not getting power to it, but no, that wasn't the case. What it actually was that the winding on the coil, where the coil winds around the lug, where they solder it on, the solder had broken away. perhaps if we get a coil and show the viewers, Graham, as well as bring those two little parts up I left on my bench there that we want to show them in that step unit.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just there on the right of where that stepper is. It's easy for us to do these on the back veranda, but this bingo, it's just been a nightmare. I mean, there was wires that we had. You got two little rollovers down the bottom. The red star and the yellow star. The yellow one would work and do what it was supposed to, but the red one, as soon as you rolled over it, pop, sent the machine into tilt. Bang. Well, that took us a good few hours to find, and what it was a bare wire. There was a short circuit, a bare wire coming into the wiring loom, and we were really, really, really lucky. It was on the outside of the loom. It wasn't right in the middle, because this machine's from 1953. So it's 70 years old, and of course the wire colours have all faded. It just makes it difficult when you're trying to troubleshoot. Oh, is that really a yellow and red wire, or is it yellow and brown, or was it yellow and white? Now it's yellow and red. Oh, yeah, I mean, it's just painful. But needless to say, we look like we've sort of got it up to a point where it's working now. It's been here a long, 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 long time. Just while we're talking, we've been talking for a little while now about our goat shed signs there. They were supposed to be in earlier this month. We just heard through the week that there was some sort of shipping strike somewhere, and that delayed them, and we're not going to have them for a little while longer. So just bear with us, and we'll certainly make an announcement here on YouTube when they're available, and on our Facebook page, the Goat Shed EM Repair Specialists. Now we have this coil here, and everybody knows that where the coil, can you see that? Where the coil wraps around the lug, it's got to be soldered on there at that point. Now at that point there toward the top. Now what had happened, this one had come loose, or one of them. This isn't the coil, by the way. And therefore it wasn't making, it was sort of like making and breaking, so sometimes it would work and sometimes it wouldn't. You get that a little bit, it's tricky, but gee, that gave us a few concerns, and this was in a belly that says Gottlieb, as you can clearly see. So now we've got that all working. We're in test mode on this thing now. The only other problem we had, and we think we might have fixed it, is we had some problems with the ball not coming out, not getting lifted out of the unit, and you had to keep pushing the button on the underneath the
override button.
The override button underneath the shooter. If anyone's not familiar with bingos, you may or may not know what we're talking about, but we seem to have overcome that. We was doing it quite consistently, and yesterday when we tested it,
seems to be all but good.
It does. We probably played 20 games and it hasn't played up, which is a good sign.
And it's scoring well too. Like a couple of the plays weren't working on the diagonals, I think. Yeah, and we fixed that. But it's so much adjustments. Well, the good thing about bellies is that there's adjustments everywhere. And but you got to remember this machine's 70-year-old, so a lot of the adjustments are on their last legs. But pretty well got there.
So who we got out here? Anyone? I haven't seen any messages pop up yet. Apologies if you have messaged, but could someone just type a message and say hi, so we can see if the messages are working? That it always seems to give us a few little issues there. So, like I was just saying earlier on, we've almost finished that bingo now. Well, let's move on from that. And then we were just sitting around wondering what was going to happen next, and a guy rang up who we'd spoken to maybe, 12 months back. Here we go. Have a great weekend. Thanks for all the lessons. Thanks, Evan. Hi, guys. Tony Chapman. Okay. All right. It's all happening. Hello from Seattle. Kansas City. Oh, here we go. Kevin gave me a good lesson on Kansas City, and Kevin would be very happy, man. Kansas City won the Super Bowl. Hey, I watched a bit of that here in Australia. Don't understand it. Now, talk about football. Anyone that's keen on sport in the USA may be aware that Australia on Sunday, our Sunday, which will be your Saturday, we're playing our national game rugby league over in Las Vegas. I can't think of the name. It's that big stadium there. I think it holds about 80,000 people or something.
That'll be interesting.
So there's another Kevin from Ireland. Be God, give me a Guinness. I've got a terrible Irish accent.
Guinness.
So yeah, anyone that's interested in having a look at our rugby league,
You'll pick it up eventually.
tune into. It'll be on Fox Sports here, so I don't know. I assume you've got something like that, KO or whatever over there. It's the first round of the season, and so whoever's home game it was has forfeited their home game in their home ground to go to Vegas. I'm sure the players aren't too unhappy about that. They'll get to have a little look around Vegas. Can anyone tell me the name of that big football stadium there? I actually drove past it when we were over there. Now, I'll talk more about America in a little while, but let's just carry on where we're up to with our machines. So this pro football's come in, and gee, it's needed a lot of work, a hell of a lot of work. And I guess you never know, like, as you know, we like to pull the step units apart, or really the correct name is step switches. Does anyone know that? And I call them steppers, and we've got this ball count unit out of this pro football, and I want to show you a coil. It's a little bit hard to see. That's really badly damaged. It's pushed right in. It's damaged on the edges, and the plunger that went with it, it's badly mushroomed. You can even see it. Look at that. So obviously we had to put a new plunger in, new coil stop, new drive arm up stop. This is why it's so important to pull these things apart. You get a lot of people say clean it with isopropyl and wriggle the parts around and it'll all be good. Well, it won't be good.
Yeah, that's good. It might be good for that night.
Yeah, it might be good for a little while. And any of you that follow us, this is a little bit of a controversial thing I'm going to talk about now. But we put a post on our Facebook page the other day and the Ian Pinball group where our videos have been banned from a certain individual's electromechanical pinball group. Now, the reasoning given was that it's complicated. The average person doesn't want to do what we do. Okay.
And they don't have to do it.
They don't have to do it. We're not telling them to do it. Oh, and some people have followed our videos, and this particular individual has allegedly had to go and repair many, many, many machines after people taking our advice. Well, that's the first we've sort of ever heard about that, but I guess what I'm simply saying is that if you don't pull the things apart, if you only take his approach and get a bit of isopropyl and put it in the faulty part and wiggle it to free it up, you're never going to find things like what we just showed you on those parts. And therefore, if they're machines that you've repaired for somebody,
you're going to get callback.
You're going to get a callback. Maybe not today, tomorrow, but you're going to get a callback. And we believe in do it right, do it once, and that's the philosophy I was taught when I was an apprentice. I believe it's a great philosophy. And I also believe in the look, listen and learn approach where we all learn off each other. Now, I mentioned earlier on, we're having this Friday night in the US, we're having the Fun with Pinball 50th coaching clinic. And I learn something new every time I go on that. And I learn off other people, and hopefully people learn something off me. And that's what it's all about. But anyway, we won't carry on with that any longer. We've had our say on that, and I think 99% of people agreed with us. So that was something that just surprised us. And everyone's entitled to their opinion, and that's fine. So we'll all just move forward. Now, just last month we had a magnetron in, which we did a video or two on, and that owner's picked that up, and I think he's since sold that machine, which is fine.
We thought he was going to do that.
Yeah. And he bought those off a guy that had an auction. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. He did have an auction, but about a year ago, about March last year, this time last year, Graham and I went to this guy's place, his warehouse, and we inspected the machines. There was 16 or 18 of them, and they all needed a lot of work. And this guy, he brought them over with a lot of vintage cars from the US and various other memorabilia, gas pumps,
a lot of signs and
stuff like that, Coca-Cola signs and blah, blah, blah. And he didn't seem to want to, listen to what we had to say to pay to get them to fix. In other words, he didn't want to pay to get them fixed. Really, that's the point. And anyway, recently a few have popped up for auction. Late last year, there was another auction, I think the weekend.
Last weekend.
Yeah. And this same guy that bought the magnetron has now bought a spinner card and one other game.
Yeah, we can't think about it. It's an old 60s machine.
Yeah. So he rang Graham up yesterday. So we're going to have those in. So spinner card will be great because we're going to be able to do a video, another video, on the mechanism that makes the cards, selects the cards.
It's like an under playfield roto type.
Yeah, it's very, it's an interesting mech.
It's like a roto without the roto.
So we're going to do that, and that should be...
A lot of people don't understand it when they look at the motorboard. They think, someone's put a spinner there, and they can't understand what's the spinner doing on the motorboard.
Yeah, it is. It's a stepper with a spinner on it. It winds up and goes back. Now, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, I often refer to Mark's Fun with Pinball page because it's really, really good, and he's got a part about how things work in there. If you go there, and I think it says spinner card... spinner or something, you can see it work, and there's an animation of it or a video of it and everything.
A few games from the late 60s had it.
Yeah, was there other games too, wasn't there?
Oh yeah, like Dodge City had it.
Did it? Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a few others had it, yeah.
So that's an interesting mech, so we'll have that in. The other thing that we're going to get onto, we had our artist come around yesterday, our lady artist, but it was just too hot.
Yeah.
To do anything.
But Spanky was happy to see her.
Oh yes,
Spanky likes
we're going to start the lightning ball cabinet artwork. Graham did all the stencils. He traced them all a long time ago, and we're now going to paint the cabinet. And I think we've mentioned before, all the mechanisms are all done. I mean, we did the motorboard in December 2020.
They're wrapped in plastic and put away.
But
we'll go over them pretty quick anyway before we go and put them back in.
And the interesting thing about that is when that particular game's from 1959, and that's was the year where a lot of the solder lugs came off the switches. They just fell off. And when we did the motorboard, we took everything off the motorboard to transfer it over to the desk so we could varnish the motorboard, clear coat it, and when we put it in the reset, really every wire bar too fell off. So, and of course,
but it was better done it then.
We mentioned it a minute ago about faded wires. Well, of course, a lot of the wires in that were faded, and we think we've got it right. We'll find out when it doesn't reset, won't we? But we looked at another lightning ball a friend of ours got him to send us a photo just to sort of compare, and it looks okay, but we might have to look into that again.
But if not, we'll work it out.
Yeah. So we're going to get onto that, and we had our back glass repaired. We sent that over to a fellow, and he's repaired it, and we've paid him for it just earlier this week, and that'll be on its way back to us. So it looks beautiful, and there's a picture of that on our Facebook page. Can't show it to you now. The other thing we've been doing, a while back, a guy that Graham's known for years, a guy called Paul, he brought to us in Australia, we call them a poker machine, but to make things simple, we'll call it what you guys in America call it, a slot machine. We had an old Silver Jubilee slot machine with a dagger handle. Now, this is really a unique one. It's like a dagger on the where you pull the handle, and I'm guessing this machine's from the middle to late 1950. I don't know. I mean, I'm not that big an aficionado on slot machines.
I think it's late 50s.
But it looks really cool. And this machine, the problem was the mech was all working, but when you put it back into the cabinet, it wouldn't work. So we've made some adjustments to the trip mechanism on that and got it going. And yeah, it's working now, but the reels, someone's put new stickers, new labels on it, and they've mucked them up something fierce. So I'm not sure. I think it's going to new reel strips, and you can generally get them. There's people all around the world that make those. Now, a question just came up about any chance to do more Williams videos. Yeah, sure. It's just when we get a game, predominantly we generally see a lot of Gottlieb games.
We'd love to do another Williams.
We like Williams games. We really enjoy them now.
We'd love some single-player Williams from the early 70s and some Bally's from the 60s.
Who was that viewer again? I'm sorry, I just missed their name there. Eye surgeon. Okay, eye surgeon.
That's what we need.
Spanky is a brain surgeon. Could you just type eye surgeon what Williams game you've got? I own myself, I've got a Williams Apollo from 1967. I have a Williams Full House from 1967, isn't it, Graham?
68, is it?
68. And I have a Williams Soccer from 1964. Yes, they're all single-player games because that's all I collect. Oh, you got a dealer's choice. Oh, that's like Marco's, wasn't it?
The old one or the new one? One from the 60s or the...
Was there two, was there?
Yeah, Williams made a single player in the 60s.
So there you go. Graham's question to you, sir, is it a 60s or a 70s one?
4 players, the 70s.
Interesting. But yeah, we enjoy working on Williams games. We like them. But yeah, we just don't see a lot of them. I don't know, we haven't had one for a while, have we? I can't remember what the last Williams game is.
Probably an Aztec, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
What about that swinger?
Hang on, did he say that?
Maybe it was that swinger that we had last.
Yours is a 70s one. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've had one of them many times.
Well, what's the one? Wasn't that the one Marco's got?
That's the one Paul Newey's got.
Oh, of course. Right.
Yeah. I've serviced that for over 25 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've done a full going over on about 2 or 3 years ago.
So trust us when we say we'd really like to be able to do a few more Williams videos. But having said that, maybe just under 12 months ago, if you look through our videos, it won't help you. It's not a 4-player game, but we have done Williams. I done some troubleshooting on my Apollo and my Soccer. You know,
But if you go back through the videos, we did do a video on Big Deal.
Ooh, no.
Yes, we have, a long time ago.
No, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But we have done Williams step units quite a while ago as well. So you've got replay units, and they're all the same. Doesn't matter what era, 60s or 70s. Williams ball count unit and a replay unit, and they were all done on Apollo, and that was about 2 years ago. So if you look for our video library, you'll find them.
Yeah.
If you want to rebuild your steppers, all
the steppers are the same too.
I've done a step by step.
Very well built the Williams games.
Got to try and keep the water up to us.
Yeah.
What did you do last night, Graham? Did you do anything?
I went down the pub in the afternoon.
Spanky wanted me to take him to the pub.
No.
I said, where do you want to go? So he took me into this bar in the city. It was a bit strange. I said, Spanky, there's no women here. He said, don't worry about it. There's some very friendly blokes there, but I can tell you that. Anyway, needless to say, without trying to discriminate, the bar was a little bit like that bar in Police Academy, the Blue Oyster Bar. So we sort of left pretty quickly. I don't know why Spanky wanted to go there. Yeah, he wanted to stay. I wanted out of there. Rotten goat. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Yeah, okay, that's great. Yeah, well, look, we're glad you're enjoying our videos. Thanks very much. These live ones are just a bit of fun once a month.
Yeah.
You know, we don't get a lot of people watching, but those that do, we appreciate it. What we're going to, what I'll mention to you now is that big drum roll. We're coming back to the USA in October for sure. I'm coming over with Craig Cashel, my buddy, my mate. He's actually booked his plane flights last Tuesday. We've got to travel sort of a bit separately till we get to the USA, and I'll be hopefully booking this week. So we're going to be at Expo in Schomburg. We'll be there. We've been invited to speak. We'll be speaking again at one of those, you know, evening chat things. And we'll also be visiting the White Rose Game Room show in York in Pennsylvania. Now, we've been to those aforementioned shows each time. I've been back to the USA, and this will be my third trip. Sadly, Graham won't be coming. The US government won't let him in. No, I'm only joking. He just can't make it, I'm afraid.
Got to look after the goat sheep.
He's got to look after the goat, and although I'll have the goat with me.
My little holiday when Kim goes.
Yeah, it is too. I work him too hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll post up our schedule when we get it, but we'll definitely be at those two places, the Expo and the White Rose, and they're only a few days apart this year, which is sort of good. But last time they were almost 2 weeks apart, and it sort of threw a bit of a spanner in our works. And we will be travelling. We will arrive in LA early. Well, I'll arrive late September. I've just got to check out with some friends of mine in San Diego. I'll spend 3 or 4 or 5 days down in San Diego. We'll then be just travelling a little bit north to Long Beach, catching up with some friends there. I'll be definitely catching up with my good friend John Osborne, former Gottlieb designer, and we'll be going to a private arcade there, which we went to last time, which is something to behold. And then we're going to fly over to New York. So we're going to head east, and I'm not sure how long we're going to be in New York at this point. This is what we've got to work out, but we will definitely be going up to see Steve Young at Pinball Resource, and over to see Dave Matrando in Highland, which is across the Hudson River from Poughkeepsie, just over a bridge, and he's a collector, and he also works at the Pinball Resource. And we'll be going to Mahoney's Irish Bar. That's Spanky would not be happy if we didn't go to Mahoney's Irish Bar there.
I thought he's barred from there.
No, he was a mistaken identity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, mistaken identity.
Go with the goat.
Yeah, I know. He shouldn't have jumped up at the bar and done what he did, but anyway, he did. We're very, very lucky he didn't get expelled. So, yeah, that's a train trip up the Hudson River on the Metro North. That's a lovely train trip. It's, what is it, an hour 40, I think. It's really pleasant. You go up, you go underground from Grand Central, and you come out and you go through, I think you go through Harlem, is it? And you see the baseball stadium there on your right, and then off you go, and you head out go up past Sing Sing, where the jail is, Sinnington or something like that, and then apparently over on your left, further up, is West Point Military Academy over the river, and yeah, anyway, it's a lovely, lovely trip. So yeah, like it or not, we're coming back over to the USA. And if anyone wants to reach out and meet us, or you'd like us to visit and have a look at your collection, we would try and do that. Obviously our time is very, very limited, but yeah, if we're on an interstate and you're just a mile or so off it, and we have got the time, we'd be happy to drop in and say hi. And Spanky, you get to meet Spanky. Good God. Why you'd want to do that, I really don't know, but I guess people want to meet the damn goat. Oh, here's Okie Dean. Hello, g'days, gentlemen. Yeah, hi there, Dean. How are you? We're doing well.
So it's a bit muggy.
Yeah, it's very humid here. So, lots of planning to do for that trip. We'll get there. And the US, our dollar against the US dollar is still not in real great shape. It's in slightly better shape than last time I was there, but not terribly good. But we want to book our airfares early. Well, as I say, Craig's done it, and I want to book mine because you save a lot. The earlier you book, the more you save, and it makes a bit of a difference. Okay, what else do we want to mention?
Well, what we're doing today is just finishing up the back box of that pro football. What do you got to do? You got to finish the credit unit?
I've just almost finished the ball count unit. That's what those parts were out of we showed you earlier on.
Yeah. And you're halfway through doing the credit unit?
The credit unit, replay unit's already been through the ultrasonic cleaner and it's all dry. I've just got to reassemble that.
I've done 3 score rules. I'm halfway through doing the 4th one. I've got to do 2 more after that.
Okay, pro football, everyone has got, of course, the 2 extra score reels for the football score.
Yep.
And
it's got that the big bell in the front of the cabinet too, which is great.
Oh, yeah, I wonder if this one got it.
It has. I've already seen it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What he's talking about is the gong, where the chimes would normally sit in an EM on a Gottlieb. You got the gong, the 5-inch gong, and I think that's when you score a touchdown.
And you get your 6 runs and it makes a fantastic noise. Now,
pro football's an interesting game. When you actually score a touchdown, you get 6 points, isn't it?
6, yep.
Yep. But pro football was designed by Ed Krinsky, and that's great. He designed some great games for sure. And one problem was with that, if you lost the ball down the left out lane, you'd
or the right.
Or either or, and it was still scoring something. You missed out on your runs, your goals. And that it didn't happen all the time, but it just so happened if the score motor was still spinning because it's mechanical and, it didn't have a buffer or anything like a calculator, you lost it and bang, you might have been on, your football, your score might have been for 28 runs and you might have been on 25 and that would have got you a replay. Well, a few years later, when John Osborne had started at Gottlieb, John started in 72, and he was there till 84, so he was there 12 years. Wayne Nyans called him in to the engineering office and said, look, we need you to do a 2-player version of a machine like pro football. So those of you that are in the know would realise that particular game was Gridiron. It was called Gottlieb's Gridiron. And John Osborne never ever took credit for designing that game. All he did was make a modification to it, and he put a delay relay in that circuit so that the score motor, if you did roll over that goal, roll over on the side lane, the delay relay would hold in and let go, and then you'd get your score and your replay, because he believed that wasn't fair to the player. But if you look up the IPDB, I can't remember if it tells you anything about that, but it sort of tells you the little story, I think, about John and Krinsky in that regard. I know they collaborated. I think I've mentioned this before. Everyone knows Gottlieb's Bronco, and it's got the 3 drop targets in the middle of the playfield. What are they? Black, aren't they?
Black with a horse.
Black with a horse.
With a Mustang on it, yeah.
Krinsky originally designed there to be 5 drop targets. And John had a bit of a chat to him and said, well, look, if we make this 3, we can do this and we can do that. And anyway, Krinsky agreed. So therefore they done a little bit of work together, and it's just like anyone that works together. Everyone comes up with different ideas. What was that? Sorry, someone asked a question. When you guys coming to the States, and we're in California, you're going to be Alameda again. Look, I think we may be giving San Francisco a miss this time. The main reason is time. So my colleague Craig that I go with, he still works. He's only a young fella. He's only in his early 40s. He's got a young family, and he just really has to get home a bit earlier. So I think he's leaving the States not long after Expo. He's going to fly back from O'Hare back to LA, and then I think the same day he's on a plane. But me, no, I'll be staying a bit longer. I'm just not sure how we're going to do it yet. Like I said earlier, we'll post our itinerary up, because San Diego and San Francisco, as all of you, I don't have to tell you, are a fair way apart. I guess you can fly from San Francisco to San Diego. But anyway, we've been to the Pacific Pinball Museum Annex twice. That is really a sight to behold, and we have already... The Spanky Does USA tour, where we made all the videos in 2022, we did a video in the Annex, which is... If anyone's never seen the Pacific Pinball Annex, you'd be amazed. A lot of the machines are up on their ends, but they've got a lot of machines. They've got 2 of everything, sometimes 3. And then, of course, they've got in Webster Street, which is sort of the main drag in Alameda, they have the Pacific Pinball Museum itself. And that's a really cool place to go. And it's a pay an entry fee, and all the games are on free play. They've got jukeboxes there, terrible lot of electromechanical games. They've got a whole room full of the more modern stuff. And they've got a lot of signage around, and they've got stories on some of the artists and things like that. Really, really cool place to go to. But will we be back there? I'm just not sure. So, and in San Francisco, in 2018, when I first went, we done all the touristy things in San Francisco. We stayed down very, very close to Fisherman's Wharf near the Embarcadero, and we did the Alcatraz tour. We did the red bus tour. You go around the Tenderloin and Chinatown and the City Hall and over the Golden Gate, and then turn around at the end and come back over and through the Presidio and up in the big, what's the name of the big park in San Francisco there? Beautiful place. So we've done all that. I must admit, I would like to go to Alcatraz again, but, I have been there, so, that was all.
But that was back when it was open.
Yeah, one of the last inmates to get out. When did it close? Early 60s, I think. A fascinating place, Alcatraz, and, apparently some of the, I don't know if they're still there now, but apparently some of the guys there actually were inmates. But they'd be getting on in years now, I guess. So, very interesting place. Excuse me. What was that? Okay, where are they? Oh, there they are. Oh, Jim. Hello, Jim.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah. There's a good friend, Jim, from Pennsylvania. Jim, you may or may not have just heard, we will be back this year, so I'll see you in York at the White Rose Game Room show. I must remember to send Rich Marquette an email and tell him that we'll be coming over, and he might tell us don't bother. No, great place, and a lot of their people... The White Rose show has got a lot of good memories for us there, and I mean, back in 2018, that's where we first met a lot of the people that we were actually friends with on Facebook. And you know what Facebook's like, social media. You can be friends with people on Facebook but never have met them in person. But we met a lot of our good friends there at that show. Now, a lot of people have said, oh, Allentown, but unfortunately, it just doesn't coincide with when we come over to the USA. And it's interesting we come over sort of in fall, because the weather's really, well, I find it quite interesting. It's quite pleasant. But last time we were in California there, at Long Beach, it was 100 degrees. So that's about 37 degrees Celsius here, which is quite hot, but there was no humidity. I was pretty surprised about that. We also won't be going to Las Vegas this year. We decided we don't need to go there. Been to the old Pacific Pinball Museum, which was on, I think it was East Tropicana, and we've been to the new one on the Strip, and we've seen it. But one place we'll definitely be wanting to go to will be the Pastimes Arcade in Girard, Ohio. Now, everyone knows that that's Rob Burke's little venture, and he's got Mike Hale there as his technical director. And we were very, very fortunate to have gone there just before Expo in 2022 when they weren't open. They had a lot of the machines in there, but they were still setting up. And we got to see all out the back, the back of house, which the customers don't get to see. And they didn't have the cafe set up inside, or it was sort of starting to take shape. And then, of course, those guys, they had to pack up and head over to Chicago a day or two after we left them. So it was great to see that, because that actually opened up in 2023, I think in April last year. So it's been open almost, 12 months. So that's another must-see place for all of you guys in the US. You really need to make it there if you possibly can. Now, the United States is a big country, and, it takes a long time to get over that. And that's my phone ringing. I'll just send that guy a message, and that's done. And that was Craig, my friend from Sydney, who he was probably ringing me back, asking to ring me back through the week. So we'll do that, and I'll know more about our trip a little later on this morning. What else can we share with you? I don't know. I can't think of much else exciting that's going on.
No, well, I think we've got most things covered.
I think I mentioned earlier, we've got the training course on in 3 weeks. That's Saturday the 23rd here. We're pretty well good to go with that. I mean, we've got all our stuff that we use. We've got a certain set of stuff like coils and step units and bits and pinball parts that we use to illustrate things in our course, and we just got to lay it out on the table we're sitting at now on the veranda and get the people to come. This year, or this course I should say, we haven't had a lot of interest in it this time, but we have got 3 people coming from a fair distance. So we've got one guy coming from Brisbane, which is about 700 kilometres away from here. Another guy coming from far northern New South Wales. New South Wales is the state we live in, up near the Queensland border, so he's going to travel probably 600 kilometres. We've got a guy coming from Melbourne. Melbourne's about the same distance from Brisbane. It is from Brisbane, so about 700 odd kilometres. So people coming from far and wide to
see
Spanky and learn a little bit about electromechanical stuff. So that's great.
Also today I've got to change over the transformer on that EM Close Encounters to Australian power.
Yeah,
so that's going to be fun.
Yeah, so we've got a 1978, is it? Close Encounters, electromechanical. They made that, remember people in those word we never say, solid state. Oh, I just said it. The owner brought this in from the States, and of course it's got a 110 volt transformer in it. Currently he was using it on a step down.
But he doesn't want the step down anymore?
He doesn't want to use a step down, so he went and found some Australian transformers. We're going to fit that in, wire it up and everything. We've sort of got that down pat now.
Oh, we've done well over 10, 20. Yeah.
And the transformers, they rarely fail, so
Yeah.
not much of a problem there.
Yeah.
So we'll have that to do as well. And the only other thing we really need to do, and we haven't done it, and I sort of knew this probably would happen, but because you end up getting busy fixing machines, we've still got to sort out parts and put them in their little pigeonholes and everything.
Yeah, slowly getting there.
Eventually get that done.
But we still know where everything is. Well, most things.
Yeah.
Except when we find things as well. Is that where it is and we haven't seen it for 10 years?
Yeah, that's the only other thing we've got to do. I mean, you're always sort of spending money, which you got to spend. Like, we need more number 44 lamps or globes, whatever you care to call them.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to do an order for them soon. We like
sockets as well.
Oh, we got sockets coming.
Have we?
Yeah, we got some sockets coming. We bought a whole pile of them from the USA.
Spank you pay for them?
No, not yet.
You want to get on to him?
Yeah. Oh, the guy's got to tell us how much we owe. But yeah, we got some sockets. Hopefully we won't ever need to buy any more of those. We need some lamps. Gee, haven't they gone up exponentially over the last couple of years?
We go through them.
We go through a lot of those, you know. So your average pinball machine could have 50 lamps, couldn't it?
Oh, it's sometimes more.
Yeah.
And then you look at bingo machines. And then that's another thing.
Well, we won't have to worry about bingo machines much longer. Not for a while anyway.
No.
But number 44 lamps, incandescent lamps, like even in Australia, people were buying them like probably going back to about 2017, 2018. I could buy them for about the amount of boxes we bought, $7 something US from Pinball Life for a box of 100. I just looked the other day, they've gone up a fair bit, but here in Australia they're some people want $30 for a box. Yeah. Okay, well we've just got to try and buy them as cheaply as we can, because we'll buy probably 10 or 15 boxes, probably 15 boxes if we can get the right price. So there's 1,500 lamps. That's probably maybe just over a year and a half's worth of lamps for us.
Yeah.
Depending on how many machines we do. Because we're not about quantity here. We're about quality. We don't want to knock 3 machines out a month and then have
people ringing up
saying this doesn't work and that doesn't work. So we just take our time.
Got to do it properly.
Because remember, you don't make any money out of servicing electromechanical pinball machines. No. Yes, you make money, but you couldn't make a living off it.
This is mainly to help people out.
That's right. I mean, I think there are people out there that I read a post in one of the pinball groups the other day where a guy, how much should I charge for a call? This is in the States, and people are giving him different answers, and some of the price ranges that people were giving him were quite extensive. Like,
it's amazing.
Yeah. But we don't do outside calls here anymore, only under circumstances where
we know the game.
We might have fixed the machine up last year and the bloke says, look, I've got this little problem, and
we know straight away what the problem is.
And he doesn't live far away, we'll
go and do it.
We'll go and have a look. But
anyone that rings up and said, I've had this machine 20 years, it hasn't worked for the last 10, can you come out and have a quick look at it?
Yeah.
Nah.
Well, look at that guy, Graham, that we just did a Royal Guard here.
Yeah.
And the guy, he wanted us to go there. He rang, he chased me down independently. Come and look at it. Well, we said, no, it's not going to happen. And we tried to explain to him, look, you're dealing with a machine from 1968. He knew it hadn't worked for 20 years. And we said, it's no point in us coming. Like, you're wasting your money and our time. Bring it to us and we can get it all done and happening for you. Anyway, I mean, when he presented it to us, of course, every rubber was perished.
We wouldn't have had it working. It was stayed at his house for 3 days straight.
Yeah, that was the one where all the snap targets, there was all springs missing off them. They had to be pulled apart.
And we had the wrong coil in the unit as well, so we probably wouldn't have had one of them with us for the snap targets.
That's right.
and it had the D relayed burnout in the trip bank.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have had one of them in that toolbox.
Who carries an A118
So we would have had to make 20 back and forward trips to his house. It just doesn't happen. When I first started, doing house calls back in the early 90s, and that I used to go there and tell the customer, I'll be back in half an hour, to go home and get such and such, and then go back, and then eventually a lot of times then you just have to say, look, I've got to take it to my place. There's just so much wrong with them. And they pretty well understood. But the trouble is, like, you'd have a machine that didn't work for 2 or 3 years, and you go to their house and you got it working after 10 minutes, and they think, oh, sweet. And I said, yeah, it's working, but not properly. I said, the ball will kick out and the flippers will work, but there's so many things that will not make it a good game. So you've got to take it to your house to twerk it, and not only get it happening, you've got to test the machine, because we like to have at least 20 to 50 games on to make sure that it's all working properly. And everyone that turns up here just to come around and do whatever, we always say, go and have a quick game on that, and any problems, let us know. And they do, and sometimes there is problems in them, which is good. And they say, oh, sorry, but the ball wasn't kicking out. We say, no, that's good. We want to know the ball's not kicking out, because we want to make sure that it is. And that's what we do.
Yeah, you got to test them.
Yeah.
And even sometimes when you do test them, many times you can still get some.
Oh, you can still get issues.
Get some faults, for sure. Someone just asked a question then about, do we prefer 44? I'm sorry, did I say 44? If I said 44, that's not what I meant. I said, did I say 44?
I can't remember.
I can't remember.
47s.
It's 47s we use. 44s are a bit brighter, but we put in the 47s. And we do have a box of 44s here. Now, I'll tell you why we have 44s. And here's some interesting things about lamps. So, in a lot of the Gottlieb games, particularly the 60s games, you'll see, and some of the 70s ones, there's no come about. Now, one game I can think of in the 70s, and there's probably others, is Gottlieb's top score. So, on the top right-hand part of the playfield, there's a target, and if you roll over a star rollover in the top lane when you shoot the ball, I think when it's lit,
it's just to the left of one of the lanes,
it'll light special.
Yeah,
but special will turn off once you score something. But if you can get the ball down, you can hit it. But that special light runs off a relay, and they put a resistor in series with the lamp, and they specify that resistance, or they set that resistance up so it equals to a number 44 lamp. So in other words, whenever you see a resistor in circuit with a lamp in that circumstance where that occurs, you put a number 44 in. You put a 47 in, it will work, but it will glow really bright because it's a different voltage. It's a lower voltage, and it'll eventually blow. Now, I learnt that the hard way back when I had a top score. Why does that light keep blowing, and I read a thread somewhere, and okay, that's why. So, other than that, we use 47s. And the other thing you've got to remember, people like Bally often used a flasher bulb. That's the number 455 flasher bulb. And what they use that for is in a delay circuit. So when a relay pulls in, the lamp is wired up in series to the power of the coil, and it'll flash. And when it stops flashing, that lets the power go, and bang, there's your delay. So Bally use that a lot. So you ever see a lamp in a Bally on a motorboard on a relay, it's always a flasher, and you always need to replace it.
They use it on Bally 4 players for the over the top for the 100,000. To give a buzzing sound, and then the buzzing sound would drop out
when the light turned off.
Yeah, after about probably 3 seconds, and just give a person a bit of a treatment sort of thing, saying, "Oh, I've got the buzz, I've got 100,000," and let the others players know that they got to get their act together to beat it.
Yeah. Well, see, when you think about all this stuff today with chips and everything, it's no problem. This is electromechanical stuff. the designers and engineers back in the day had to think and think, well, how are we going to achieve this? They used what they had at hand, what technology they had at hand at the time. And that's another situation. Talk about lamps. We had a game in, we've had a few games in over the years, but we had a C37, centigrade 37 in, and it's got one of those setups we were just talking about. Now that's late. What's that, 76, 77, centigrade 37?
6 or 7, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it's got one of those lights wired up in series with that for special. This guy had put LED, I mean, he's a solid state dude, okay. He's put LEDs all throughout the machine. Now, those of you that follow us know we don't like that. But what are you going to do? We're not going to chuck them out, and that's his game, his business. But it's our business when it comes in to be fixed and there's problems. So what was happening, we'd get the special and the light wouldn't light up. The special light wouldn't light. Well, simple enough. There's a bad switch in the relay. No, there's nothing wrong with it. We ran a jumper from one lamp to the other and it all lit up. It turns out, from memory, when you get the thermometer ribbon to the top, there's another lamp that lights up at the top of the thermometer. Probably, you know, the bulb with the thermometer. I can't remember. This dude had a flasher LED in there. Now, an LED means light emitting diode. Now, a diode only lets current flow one way, if I've got my electronics correct. I'm not an electronics genius. Therefore, this lamp, when it started to flash, would turn the power off. It wouldn't allow the current to flow through the circuit to go to the special lamp. Something like that anyway. Look, someone looked at the schematic right and said, oh no, you're not right about that, but it's something reasonably similar to that, okay? So, you know, you just got to look out for these things. So, we've said before in a few group posts where people have put things up, oh, I put these LEDs now, something doesn't work. Well, too many times people don't write what machine it is and what light it is not working. I mean, you haven't got a crystal ball. You've got to be more specific. You know, what game? There's lots of different games, you know. But that's another example what we just gave about how an LED can interfere in a circuit with an electromechanical pinball machine. General illumination, it's generally all right, but some features, can be problematic. Not all of them, some of them. So just be aware of that, people. Just be aware of what's going on in that sort of situation, because it could give you trouble. And sometimes you never figure it out. So there. Keep LEDs out of electromechanical games. Yeah. That's what we say. What do you reckon, Spank? Where is he? Oh, there he is.
He's waiting for 10 o'clock. Pub opens.
Oh, 10 o'clock. Pubs open in our state at 10 o'clock.
In about 5 minutes.
Yes, Kevin says it's in his wizard. Well, there you go. Yeah.
That'll be for the buzzer.
Yeah, it could be too, couldn't it? Yeah. So there you go. Once again, getting back to the question about Williams and even Bally. The last Bally we had in here, I think, was Fireball, and it was about this time last year.
Yeah.
And we were going to do a series of videos on the step units in that one. But what happened was the lady who owned it, she lived down in Victoria, like that's down near Melbourne, so 600-700 kilometres away. And her husband had died a period of time before that, and he'd already done a lot of work on the game, and she just wanted it going because it's part of his memory. And so we didn't have to do the stepper on that Bally, but we did have one really weird ass problem with that, and we did a video on it, so there you go. It had the incorrect coil plunger, in other words, one of these in the 0 to 9 match unit, and the plunger that was in it was too long. That Bally made two size plungers, one say that big and one a nit's tit big, nit's tit longer. And what they had the longer one in there, or the shorter one. Was it the longer? I can't remember. Anyway, what it was doing,
the short one's the reset.
It was not allowing pawl of the coil to dive into the tooth correctly. Mechanically, there's no adjustment. So
as soon as we took it out, we knew what was right.
Yeah, took it out, compared it with another one, and there was your problem. So some guy was in the field. I'd say what's happened. The coil. Well, I know what happened. The coil had burnt out. Remember, it was a 0 to 9 unit, so it's a one-way stepper. So it's only got one coil, no resetting coil, and yet we could see the big burn mark. So the coil was probably stuck or welded in there by the heat in the coil, plastic coil plunger.
And you can't get it out.
Can't get it out. The guy's in the field, opened up his tool bag. Oh, I've got this one, shoved it in the way it went. As far as he was concerned, it was moving okay, but obviously it wouldn't work right. You know, it could go in between two numbers and all that sort of thing. So that was an interesting fault. And whenever we find these interesting things, we always make a video of them. And there was another one we did only late last year on a Gottlieb one, where the drive arm on a step unit, where the pivot screw goes in for the drive arm, that's the one that goes up into the coil, the bushing had the rivets, the brass rivets that hold the bushing on, had come loose, and so when the coil would go up, the pawl would fall off and jam up on the escapement wheel. Because that was twisting, it's a bit hard to explain, but have a look at the video. Okay. Well, that's about an hour's worth of us rambling on.
Yeah, it's nearly time for morning tea.
Yeah, morning tea, then we'll go to the pub.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
You've got a problem. I won't be going until at least 3 o'clock.
It's just Becky gets me down there.
Oh, okay.
He's got to be accompanied nowadays, and they won't let him in.
Yeah. So, as always, we welcome any questions that you may have. You all know about our YouTube channel, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this. But did you know about our Facebook page, Goat Shed EM Pinball Repair Specialist? And that's where we try and answer all our technical questions, and that way other people get to learn off everyone's answers. And I'll just touch briefly on this before we go. I know a lot of people like to help people going on private messages or direct message, whatever you care to call them. That's cool, that's great. But the trouble is, someone's asked a question in a group and then they dive off to the side and they get the answer. They don't often bother coming back and telling, oh, thanks very much for that. Bill Smith helped me out with that. And this is what the problem is. Because a lot of people, they put the thing, I'm following this, blah, blah, blah.
They never find out.
And they never find out what the problem was. And it's the same as if you do ask a question in the group, and that's any group, not just ours. I think it's polite to thank the people that helped you out and tell the others what the problem was. You might have got 3 or 6 or 5 suggestions. Oh, Fred Nurk said this and Bill Smith said this. It was a combination of both those, or it was just this or just that. Does that make sense? Because, like I said, even Graham and I can learn something out of this stuff.
Yeah.
We're dealing in equipment that's well over 50 years old in general. They were not meant to last this long. And it helps everyone in the hobby. It's free. This is the amazing thing. Everything is free. So that's why we couldn't believe about that other guy banning our videos from his group. Why? You let your own viewers decide what they want to watch. Anyway. Thanks for watching, everybody. And I don't think we've got any more questions there, have we? No. Okay. Sign off, Graham?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Bye.